Cool story, bro. Cool story, bro. Brought to you by the Sneaky Bros. Bringing you releases and reviews and the latest video game news and interviews from people with nothing better to do. It's Cool Story, bro. Coming to you.
Yes, Cool Story Bro is coming to you. The response from our first episode has been so fantastic. We are throwing our first bonus episode at you for free. You can get this on our Ko-fi page. The easiest way to get there is on our website, coolstorybro.gg. Scroll down, hit Ko-fi, and our bonus episode is available for free. Our next one will be available on there as well. It's all great content that you might want to hear from the Sneaky Bros. Not just talking about video games, we're talking about all things that we're into. Well, make sure you also check out our sponsors at 2game.me as well. Discounts on your favourite video games that still supports publishers, no dodgy CD keys or anything like that. All are available at coolstorybro.gg. Well, hello, Ziklag. We made it for another one.
I'm Jack, by the way. Not
I knew I was going to do it. I knew I was going to call you. It's fine. We just get the first one out the way, and then we're done. Right. Anyway.
Maybe episode 3 you'll get it right. Who knows?
I've got a new stream for us anyway. With what we said before. You ready for some Cool Story Bro ASMR?
Okay, go on.
Yeah. Did you hear that? Did we get the? Should we have a pour?
I'm so confused right now.
I'm not sure how. I don't think that's coming over the noise cancelling on my mic processing. But I just opened a can anyway.
So what's new? What is new with you?
What is new with me is the fact that this podcast has finally done what I've been saying I'm going to do for a long time and check out new games regularly. I have played not 1, not 2, but 3, almost 4 new games this week. I say almost because I downloaded 1 and then looked at the art and the blurb for it and went, that looks horrendous, and just didn't play it.
That's really impressive. I've actually done the opposite of what you've done. So, I've not done any gaming really. The only gaming I did was last night. I bought Total War, the new one, Warhammer 3. Had a blast. Just sat down, got a beer, cracked that open, and yeah, man, rocked out some battles. It was good. It was fun. But yeah, I've not gamed, man. You've kind of done that for me, so you'll have to carry this episode.
Hang on, did you say you bought Total War Warhammer 3?
Yeah.
Did you not already own that, or?
No, I own the second one and the first one.
Warhammer 3 is a really good game. I really like Warhammer 3. I wish I had more time for grand strategy games because I really like it. But yeah, a solid game. Obviously, 2 I know you spent a lot of time with. And
yeah,
was it modding 2 as well? You spent a lot of time with.
Yeah, so Warhammer 2, it was received really well by the community, and then when the third one was released, it wasn't as received as well. Creative Assembly, they haven't been doing so well recently, but they've kind of had a change around with the upper management, and they're kind of delegating the developers a bit better. So they've kind of changed the ways of bringing out updates and keeping the community engaged as well. Like they've got 2 really good update videos on their official Creative Assembly Total War YouTube channel where they're finally engaging with the community. They're finally giving us what we want. So Warhammer 3 is actually in a really good state right now. They've just released, I believe it's called like Mortal Engines or something like that, where it pretty much combines all 3 of the games together. So I'm talking about all of the factions from number 1 and 2. You combine them all together into one big epic strategy game. And there it is. I've been playing that. I've been playing a Chaos Army, having fun, murdering people. It's great.
I do love playing Chaos. I was the army of Slanesh when last Warhammer game I played, just because the visuals for them are fantastic.
Now, is that how you say Slanesh, or is that the proper way of saying?
I have no idea. I play tabletop as well. I have no idea, but we're not turning ourselves into a tabletop podcast because there's enough of them. Not that there's enough video game podcasts. What have I been playing this week? Speaking of video games, I'm just going to cut you off.
That's fine.
I'm going to start off with. I'm going to leave the big one till last. I started playing Epic Mickey rebrushed on the Switch this week,
Sorry, what?
which isn't a game I thought I'd ever play, but I saw it available on the Switch released this week and thought I'd give it a go. What it is, it's a remake. I think it came out about 2010, 2011 for the Wii. So not a lot of people probably would have played this game. And this is a reimagining remake available on PC and other platforms. Back on the Switch, obviously, as well. It's where I played it. Really good, you know. It's a 3D platformer, really colourful and pops and in your face. It flows really well. And the kind of mechanic that they've gone for is that Mickey's running around with this paintbrush and you sort of add things back to the world or take them away in order to solve the puzzle for that level. So, for example, you might remove the paint, as it were, or the world around a door, and that will, you know, make that door fall over. That's the way you unlock it. Or you might get rid of the floor, which makes all the rocks that are in your way fall, and then you paint them back. You paint the floor back so that you can then walk back over the floor. So it's quite a cool mechanic. You can't paint and unpaint the entire world, so that it is pretty obvious what you can do. But I really like that mechanic, and I think it's going to fall into this genre of games I pick up every now and again when I want something really casual. I've been really enjoying 3D platformers over the last few years. I picked up Spyro the Dragon Remastered a few months ago, which included a couple of the Spyro games. So it's the Spyro Reignited trilogy. I just played through the first one because that's the game I remember. But so it's Spyro the Dragon, Spyro 2, and Spyro Year of the Dragon that's included with that. And
Have you given Crash Bandicoot a go since you're so into 3D platformers recently?
I've got Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy, and I've got Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, but they're insanely difficult games, and that's probably the least of the platformers, 3D platforms that I jump into. My all-time favourite modern 3D platformer remains Super Lucky's Tale on the Xbox. It's amazing. I don't think you've played that, have you?
I haven't, no, but I remember you talking very highly about the game on a previous podcast. So yeah, I'll have to give it a shot one day.
It just flows really well. So Super Lucky's Tale is 3D platformer similar to Spyro, Epic Mickey. You just run around, but it jumps around genres, and I really like that. You get a chance of a 2D platformer and things like that. And Epic Mickey does exactly the same. So you start off as a 3D platformer, but then there's bits where you jump to different genres of game. So the 2D platformer bit's really fun as well. It's just really well done. I never played or even saw anything of the original. I know they've added new mechanics that just modernise the game slightly, but still at the game's core. Visually stunning, really. On the Switch, I found myself multiple times going, wow, this is what the Switch is designed for. You know,
wow.
Switch isn't designed for doing your high-end realistic graphics shooters and all that sort of stuff, high draw point. It's for doing these sorts of games, really colour popping, cartoon, family games. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Definitely a good chill out game. And there's a demo available on the Switch for free as well if you want to check it out.
We do love a good free demo. So, you know, you were saying wow for that, and I'm guessing for Mickey Mouse, you were going yippee and woo, woo, and all that.
It didn't have a lot of annoying repetitive one-liners as you went. Yeah, of course it has the few. But, yeah, it's been received really well. So it's very positive from the release, which is today. Releases right now today. I managed to play it a little bit earlier in the week, thanks to some early access. But THQ published it, and Purple Lamp were the developers for that one. Really enjoyed that. Definitely check it out. Epic Mickey Rebrushed. I'm going to actually talk about the big one now because it's sold. Yeah, I was going to save it. I've changed my mind.
I don't think I'm ready for this. Go on.
Already sold 350,000 copies. That's not including people like myself who've played it with Game Pass. and that's
Okay.
Frostpunk 2.
Ooh, how was
Mm,
it?
Now, I never played the original,
Oh,
but
it's a
it's
brilliant game.
thought
Oh,
it's something I thought I'd check out. So if you've never played Frostpunk and Frostpunk 2 before, it is a city builder game, but it's more of a city survival game, and that's where I put it. And there's a few games that fall into this genre as well, where it's not like those idyllic city builders, where you build a city, you can get it running nice and oiled smoothly, all your traffic's flowing lovely, you got this nice inflow of resources, everyone's happy, and you can just get it to that sweet spot. That is physically impossible in Frostpunk, and it is the main focus of the game. Things will go wrong, things are meant to go wrong, and it only goes from bad to worse. This is a difficult game. So
yeah,
they've got
it's pretty much the opposite of what you just described. If
yeah,
everything's calm, you're thinking of, is this right hand turn? Is that going to be optimal for, all the lorries going through, all the trucks? No, this is everything goes from bad to worse, and it doesn't get better. Like throughout the entire game, it does not get better.
yeah, it's difficult. It's so I played. You can't just jump into the skirmish. Well, you can just jump into what you call skirmish mode, where you just make a city, but it really isn't recommended. And the game also warns you: do not do that. Play the campaign. So definitely play the campaign first. I failed the first campaign mission 3 times on the easiest setting, because what I hadn't realised is by the time I'd worked out the mechanics, it was too late, because the big winter frost was coming. I had not saved enough food, and all my villagers were going to die.
Have you not seen?
Well, I realised
have
there
you
was
not seen Game of Thrones?
I have seen
Winter's coming. You need to prepare.
the and then it kept jumping me back to an autosave point, which I didn't realise was not the start of the game. So once I realised that, I made a fresh account, and we got through the first level. Really difficult, and as I say, it's brutal as well. You just make decisions at some point where, just let the elders die, let them starve to help feed people. You cannot make everything run smooth, and that's the point. So if you want something that's laid back, it's not this game. You're managing so much, whether it's resource gathering, food gathering, production, outside threats, rebellions from within. So you sort of get to this stage a bit later on where politics comes into a big key part of it, where you've got all these factions that want various things, and you're trying to keep everyone happy. And as a mayor of these cities, it's difficult. And then you have a vote, and obviously to bring in various laws that you want, you've got to hope that the factions vote your way. If not, they're not going to come into law, and you try and make deals with them and things like that. But it is a fine balancing mission, and if you've got Game Pass, I'd recommend checking it out. It doesn't cost you anything, one of the beautiful things about Game Pass. Or if you do want to buy it, you can visit our sponsors at 2Game, get yourself a nice discount. You can see that link at coolstorybro.gg. Did you like that segue?
That was a nice little plug you did there. It flowed really well. Now, do you want me to flow it even smoother? Okay, talking about Frost. I mean, I personally wasn't frosty playing that game. I was very sweaty and very hot with all the wrong choices I was making. But talking about Frost, new game coming out in early access that has a lot of eyes on it. The Forever Winter. I'm not sure if you've heard about this.
I know literally nothing about this.
Well, let me give you a brief description and let me know if it tickles your fancy. The Forever Winter is a co-op tactical survivor horror shooter where you and your squad must loot the dead to survive under the shadow of terrifying and gargantuan war machines locked in a never-ending conflict.
Sounds good, but it's going to be terrible.
I thought that as well.
It's a co-op survivor shooter. No one's going to get this right. If there's zombies involved, no one can make a good co-op. You cannot convince me that there's a good co-op zombie survival game. This doesn't exist.
I agree. There's been many that have trialed and failed. But this, the devs, they've got a strong stance on, it's not pay to win. It's strictly gameplay. You pay for the game and you play it. Which I love to hear. I love to see. And the gameplay is you have to really choose your fights. Apparently every bullet counts in this world. It's very, very unforgiving. It's kind of the world where you wouldn't want to bash your shin into any of the metal pieces because it's very raw. The art style is it's beautiful. I can't do it justice with my words. So on Steam, type in the Forever Winter. Have a look at some of their screenshots. It's very metal, which I love to see. The art style can go in many directions, and yeah, I'm actually looking forward to pick this up and playing it myself.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
also out
look,
today as well.
it is out today. Yeah, early access. So yeah, give it a whirl. You know, just look at some videos. Check out the streamers before you buy, which I recommend at all times.
Yeah, it's not going to join the list. So many games to play. I'm gonna screech back. Did you play Frostpunk 1 then?
I did, yeah. Uh-huh.
So my understanding is that with Frostpunk 1, you were very much just you were the mayor of a city. And that's
Correct,
how you
yeah.
managed it. Frostpunk 2, the big changes, you sort of end up managing this full civilization of multiple cities and trying to balance that out. It really goes bigger and deeper, and it's almost... So it's not, just a slight expansion of the original as second games tend to be. It is basically just a reimagining. So all the main core themes are there, but they've just took the best elements and just ran with it. So yeah, lots of frosty themes coming up for the winter.
Okay, that's interesting. And twice the fun. Bigger the better. I like it.
But yeah, not a game just to sit back and chill to. It's like what was weird though, like I normally get really frustrated if I don't, if I constantly just die and lose at games. It's just I don't have the time to get good at some games these days. But I didn't, because it's the point where things are meant to go wrong. Yeah, it was kind of not too bad. So enjoyed that. Definitely check it out. The final game. Oh, go on.
Sorry.
Go.
Sorry, I personally really like games where it challenges you and, dying is part of the fun, having to restart and then you have to adapt to, doing something different to how you died previously. For example, Frostpunk, you have the balance of, the main generator in the middle that produces all the heat.
Yeah.
You have to overdrive that to produce
That's
more
it.
heat for the outer areas, but then you can't overdrive too much because then you run the risk of blowing your whole center up, and then that's not good news. So I really like that mechanic of how from death you learn from your experience and then start again. I personally loved starting again in Frostpunk. It was great.
Yeah, it's like no other city builder game. You have to etch your way through the ice as you go around as well. So you can't just build wherever you want. Resources are finite, and the people to work are even more finite, especially if you start killing them all.
Or
Yeah.
sending the kids down the mine.
Yeah. It depends how you choose to be a leader. Depends what you choose to do. In a completely opposite game that I decided to check out.
Another one. Okay.
It was we
Yep,
did speak about it last episode, and I think that's what sort of prompted me to give it a go. Was Train Sim World 5. I have not played a sim game. So what I mean, so I've not played Flight Simulator or a train sim game or Jet Wash Simulator or whatever else they have on Steam these days for a long time. Slightly piqued my interest because there's the British West Coast Main Line on there with the 350 and Pendolino, and because again the starter pack is free, and then you just buy all the trains, or it's on Game Pass as well, the standard edition. Thought I'd give it a go, and expected it to be really sweaty and difficult to learn, but actually it was really easy to pick up. Now, the tutorial was a little bit frustrating because it's designed for your granddad to pick it up. The sort of standard person you might see on a train platform photographing trains. I get that, but it spends an excruciating long time just teaching you how to walk forwards and look up and down and sit down on chairs and all that sort of stuff. When a lot of games do this in their tutorial. They start with move forwards, crouch, look around. I understand you're trying to bring people that potentially have never played a game before, but for everyone else, just allow us just to run past that bit. But in terms of teaching you how to drive each train, does a really good job. And yeah, I sailed past my first platform of the first playthrough, but it's fine. We moved on to the next one. Getting it sort of spot on and running to the time schedule that you meant to hit feels really good. That's rewarding. And obviously not making any mistakes like speeding or, having to shut the doors before all the passengers are on so you don't be late, all that sort of stuff. It's good. There's some weird bolted-on features as well. They've got conductor mode, which literally feels like they all sat down one day for like a game jam and just decided, right, let's add something wacky to the game. And you literally play a train conductor, and you literally walk down the carriage, click on passengers, and check if their tickets are for the correct date and for the correct carriage that you're in. And then when you get to a station, you open the doors, let the passengers off, check everyone's on, close the doors, and off again.
I'll be honest, that sounds way more fun than actually driving the train.
Maybe conductor mode is just for you.
Maybe. All aboard!
Honestly, if that's how you want to role play, then sure, crack on. But it's primitive. It's a bit weird. It's not quite there yet. But the thing for me with the simulation, like the graphics are fantastic. You need an absolute monster of a PC to run it for because there's just so much being simulated. But it's the sound design for me. Like, I've been on 350s in this country, and they've got a very distinctive electric motor sound, and as they pull into stations and what their doors sound like, and it's all authentic as possible. So yeah,
I have a question.
Go on.
Are you the old man on the platform taking the photos? Because that's exactly what you sound like right now.
No, I've just done my research while I was playing the game.
A true game journalist. Very nice. I've got a little bit of a news story for you. Just a little nibble. Minecraft is finally coming to the PS5. Finally.
What do you mean?
What do you
Surely it was on PS5 before.
No, it was just on the PlayStation 4. Apparently, it took so long because Sony was reluctant to send Microsoft dev kits to develop the game port.
Wait, so there wasn't even like a PS4 version that you could play on PS5? You literally just haven't been able to play Minecraft on the PS5?
I'm almost positive. I did check on the PlayStation Store, and it only had PlayStation 4 selected under what it could be played in. Right. I did not see a PlayStation 5, so there you go. It's coming out.
That's pretty insane. Minecraft is going to be one of those games like Skyrim where it just gets sold over and over again on various platforms as the years move on. Just how it is. There won't ever be. I mean, I may eat my words on this one, but I can't ever see there being like a Minecraft 2 or anything like that.
No, I mean, they've done other games, right?
It doesn't lend its way to how Minecraft is. You just keep updating it.
Yeah, like they've done Minecraft Legends, is it called? And then they've done story mode as well. I've not played story mode, but apparently it's very good actually.
Yeah, what was that? Top down.
I'm pretty sure that was Legends.
Was that Legends? That was pretty good actually. It was missing some of the features of the bigger games in that genre, but actually it was pretty fun. I quite enjoyed it. Again, there's a new category of games for me where I wouldn't buy them, but I actually enjoy them because they're on Game Pass. And because they're on Game Pass, I check them out.
You do love Game Pass, don't you?
For me,
big
I pay my subscription to Spotify, as I've done for years for my music. I pay for Netflix, and I pay for Game Pass. That's my music, my movies, and my games, all in 3 subscriptions. Keeps me happy.
I think our bank statements look the same because I'm pretty much spot on there as well. Talking about Microsoft, did you know that they spend $1 billion annually to get third-party games on Game Pass.
Really? Oh.
Yeah,
So
one bill.
is it a loss leader for them? Do they lose money on Game Pass?
So originally, this was in 2021. I think they reported of earning something beyond like around 2 bill. So recently Microsoft have said that Game Pass sales have actually declined slightly, and you got to think about the marketing as well. There's loads of expenditure, especially with the cloud services as well, that they offer. That's going to cost a lot of cash. I mean, they haven't disclosed, you know, uh, the expenditures of Game Pass. If it is or if it isn't making any money in the past couple of years. I would suspect that it's probably, even. I would say that it's probably not making much if it is making any at all.
I think from a developer standpoint, now I can't speak for all devs on this, but I know some devs have said that you might think that putting a game on Game Pass decreases sales, but a lot of devs have reported that it actually aids sales. What you find generally is devs put a limited version on Game Pass and then allow people to expand on that with extra features. So you sort of get this very basic version.
I know, I'm not sure if you do it as well, but sometimes if I find a game on Game Pass, I like to also have it on my Steam library as well. Just because I'm one of those guys there where I like to see the stats. I know like Xbox and Microsoft have their own stats, but they're not, the platform isn't as good as Steam. It doesn't give as many stats as I like, So I personally do like having the game in my Steam library. So sometimes I'll play it on Game Pass and be like, yeah, I'll just buy it on Steam.
Yeah, and I think that's what people are seeing as well, not just expansions, but people like to then decide to support the game. Some developers may have not seen that reaction. It may have just been terrible for them. But yeah, well, I think we'll see what the future holds for Game Pass. Regarding Xbox, let's move over to PlayStation. Now,
Sony.
we are 2.5, 3.5 hours away from Sony's State of Play, which is coming back, which is their big show on what they're showing us what's coming up next. So we'll talk about this in the bonus episode a little bit more, and you can get the bonus episode on our website, storybro.gg. That was very robotic, wasn't it? But there's been a potential leak of what they're talking about.
You love a good leak.
Yeah, I've got some good sources now.
Unless it's in your house. Not so fun then.
Definitely not. Now, the leak I've seen is just pictures of current games. It's from... I think it's from the Japanese store that's got a section called State of Play. And amongst this list of games includes Astro Bot, The Last of Us, Metro Awakening, Hell is Us, Alan Wake, Dragon Age, and Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't know if I said that, but yeah, whether these are getting some sort of big update or this is just a nonsense leak that doesn't mean anything. Now, they have said they're talking about 20 games, I think, in the State of Play, and there's only 15 listed here, so that leaves us maybe there's 5 big announcements coming. New games, DLC, something like that. This is all speculation. We'll know in a couple of hours what's going to be in the State of Play, and anything big will bring you from that.
The whispers around the office here is that don't hold your breath, pretty much. I think there's going to be plenty of remakes in there and remasters. Hopefully there's a couple of new IPs, but after Concord's debacle, 400 million now, that's doubled in price. It was originally 200 mil loss, now apparently it's a 400 mil loss. Have you heard about this Concord? This Concord business? Not the plane? No. So the game Concord, it was meant to be pretty much Sony's Star Wars IP. They pumped a lot of cash into it. It pretty much flopped in the first week. So initially, journalists thought that Sony had pumped $200 million into this whole IP, but apparently it's double that. Apparently they doubled down and they put twice as many resources into it. But yeah. Matt, Concord, it was released. It lasted a week. They pulled the game from all the stores and they gave everyone a refund. 400 mil down the drain. Good job,
Mm,
Sony.
interesting. Speaking of leaks, we're going to go really speculative now.
Is this
Now,
the
go on.
is this the vegetable?
I don't know what you're talking about, but the PlayStation 6, according to a leaker who's got things right in the past, they've got 2 potential systems in development. So that could just be like a PlayStation 6 Pro and a PlayStation 6 normal, but that's literally firing up the rumor mill that, is there going to be a PlayStation handheld device to go with this
I was
as
about
well?
to say that. I feel like
Um,
they have to go for a handheld, right?
yeah,
Because Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out.
yeah. Rumors
And
suggest that the next generation Xbox will have a main console and a handheld version as well. So
oh, that is interesting. Wow, okay.
So it's possible that Sony have to, if Xbox are doing it, and obviously Nintendo are continuing their handheld device, PlayStation will almost be backed into a corner that they've got to do a handheld as well. Not only that, but we all know that Steam are working on the next Steam Deck as well. So the future is bright for handheld consoles by the looks of it.
Yeah, I mean, why not? It's the Switch sold amazingly. Why wouldn't you develop a handheld, right?
Yeah, yeah. Just jumping back to Steam as well. Steam has reached its highest ever concurrent players. Now,
Wow, how many players?
You'd think this would happen during the pandemic, which it definitely did reach records then. But yesterday it reached 38.3 million players, which is the highest of all time.
That's a lot of people.
So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, since the release of Black Myth Wukong, we've seen huge spikes in players coming in. And also, something that people didn't expect to do so well, that's not even technically fully out, is Deadlock.
Deadlock, okay.
Is doing really well in the concurrent players. Sitting just below Satisfactory.
Okay, I have a question for you, Matt.
Yeah.
So, talking about Steam, breaking records for how many PC players are on their platform, do you think other players in the game, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, do you think they're starting to realize and take note that porting their exclusive titles to PC is beneficial?
100%. This era of platform exclusivity, I think, has to end. And I think we've been seeing that for a while now. For a while, it stopped us having cross-platform games.
Right.
I think for me, things like Rocket League, when they started allowing PC to console and then PlayStation to Xbox interaction, that was pretty big. Fortnite and other big shooters, Call of Duty, started doing the same. Yeah, it's so much better for the consumer, and we're still going to get console exclusives and things like that. Are you going to see Halo on the PlayStation anytime soon? Who knows? I think what will happen is they may release older titles onto competing platforms and things like that. But in terms of Steam and the PC market, yeah, I think PC gamers are in a great position where console, developers, including Nintendo, are now starting to consider, that the PC market is good for them and doesn't impact on their Switch sales or whatever other console that you may be interested in.
Yeah, I think Sony and Microsoft have finally realized that this is the play to make. Nintendo are still on the fence. I'm not sure if you've searched on Steam recently, but there isn't much Nintendo or if any games on there at all. If you type in Pokemon, no Pokemon games. If you type in Mario, no Mario games. I mean, if you think of Nintendo, they're the two things that you think of, right? Is Mario and Pokemon.
Yeah.
And
can you imagine a fully fledged Pokemon game coming out on PC?
what's funny is that if you type in Pokemon, in the
Yeah.
Steam search bar, Power World is
Yeah.
the thing that is at the very top.
Well, and that's because, and everyone's saying they the only reason they're playing Power Word because it's the game they've wanted from Nintendo for a long time.
Absolutely.
Nintendo have now stepped up and officially started suing Power World for patent infringement, not copyright infringement, but patent infringement, which is slightly different, but pretty much the same. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. There are some
I do have
stark
some more
similarities. Go on.
So I've actually been looking into this a bit more, and apparently the Power World dev says that he will fight Nintendo's lawsuit to ensure indies aren't discouraged from pursuing ideas, and I completely agree. Apparently, I mean, it hasn't been confirmed of what this pattern is, but a lot of rumors are going around that it's something to do with throwing an object in a 3D space to catch a monster. Now,
That's
now, okay, listen here.
go on.
What do you think about software patents? In my opinion, it's very anti-consumer because no one is able to innovate within the space and come up with new ideas. And if Nintendo wins this lawsuit, in my opinion, I think it's going to be extremely damaging to the whole gaming scene. It's going to affect everything because in theory, let's take a League of Legends character. We all know League very well. Let's take Rise. His ultimate ability, he can teleport across the map. Well, Riot Games can, apparently they can patent that. Apparently they can patent, a hero teleporting to a different area. That's essentially what this is. It's terrible.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I completely agree. The big difference between the two examples you gave, Rise's teleport across the map is not iconic for League of Legends, where throwing a Pokeball is literally the box art on most Pokemon games.
Right.
Yeah, I still get what you're saying, but they are slightly different examples. I completely agree, though. Nintendo shouldn't be able to patent the catching of monsters via throwing something in a 3D space. Now, if you're throwing a Pokeball and it wobbled around exactly the same, yeah, they've definitely got a leg to stand on. And I agree with everything Power World has said. For me, there are just a few too many similarities at times in the Power World game.
Now, see, it is interesting that you bring that up, that there's similarities within those two games, because I want to bring up another game. Have you ever heard of Dragon Quest before?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so it was previously published by as Dragon Warrior in North America until 2005. It's a series of role-playing games created by a Japanese game studio, Armor Project. Nintendo clearly got their inspirations from the animal drawings from this game. I'm not sure if you've ever seen the animals in Dragon Quest, but just bring up a Google search and it's one-to-one, pretty much identical to Pokemon's original drawings. It's scary how similar it is.
Yeah, see, that's wrong. But, in terms of, it's like when Minecraft first came out and there were loads of very similar copycat Lego e-builder craft survival games. Mojang, and they shouldn't have been able to copyright that, and same with PUBG, because from that we got Fortnite, and from there we got the Call of Duty version of their Battle Royale mode as well. So no, you shouldn't be able to patent mechanics. I don't think that should be allowed. We'll see. Nintendo likes suing people. Nintendo is such a strange company. Like, it's taken them so long to allow content creators to review and stream their products. There's plenty of instances where they've copyright strike YouTube channels and things like that. And I still think there is the odd instance of them still doing that. But they'll get there.
Yeah,
They'll see.
I remember. Do you remember back in the day? I think this was like I don't know the exact date, but 10, 15 years ago. Do you remember the whole stream of incidents on YouTube where Nintendo were like copyright striking people for putting their trailer and talking over it and advertising it? Helping Nintendo out, and they were like, "No, you can't do that." Like, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I understand where they're coming from. If they want to be very protective of the IPs, that is completely fine. But I find that Nintendo, when they're all pro community, family, I feel like it's very weird how they treat different parts of the community in different ways. It's very, very weird. How they're apparently very user friendly, but as we all have seen, why are they suing? Why are they copyright striking in the past? It doesn't make sense to me. It's weird.
Right. Yeah. It's strange business behavior. But to finish off, we love Nintendo. We think Nintendo are the best company in the world. Don't sue us, Nintendo. It was all opinion.
I'm just not going to say anything.
In speaking of game dev studios that are not doing so well recently,
Ooh.
Annapurna Interactive, a publishing
Yes.
studio, have had all their staff walk out this week after a disagreement with the owner on the apparent split away to sort of make a spin-off company. Now, these are the main publishers behind Outer Wilds and many other games as well, but the one that springs to mind for me from Mobius Digital. Now, Mobius came out straight away and said, don't worry, this doesn't affect us even slightly. We're still working on our next game for you, thanks to all concerned. And I just want to know what that next game is. Because
I
we
think
all
everyone
know
wants to know what the next game is.
it's not going to be Out of Wilds 2. We all know that. They've said they're finished with Out of Wilds. We all hope that one day they go back and change their mind. But yeah, we just want to know what their next game is. I fully expect it to be completely different to Outer Wilds, with hopefully a new crazy mechanic.
I
Maybe
agree,
they'll
but
try
could you imagine? Could you imagine if that's the biggest bluff ever? Could you imagine? Oof.
I'm not that lucky. It's not going to happen. Yeah, it's definitely not going to happen. Yeah, any other gaming news?
Yeah, so photos of the Switch 2 factory prototypes have been leaked on a Chinese website.
Are we just a leaked podcast now? Is that what we are?
Pretty much, yeah. I can't take this post seriously. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Why are you laughing?
If you want to see the pictures, go to Reddit. Just type in Switch 2 pictures. You'll find them there. They're not that interesting. It's just 3D models of a virtual Switch. It's pointless. Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom has leaked online. So yeah, if you want to see the new Zelda, go online. It's all there. Echoes of the Wisdom, apparently it's called. It's very good. From what people have said, they've already played it. There's been... Okay, we're not talking about leaks anymore. That's all the leaks finished now. New details on the new Battlefield game. Ooh. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I have. And I saw the tech demo that they presented to investors and insiders this week, last week maybe. Looks interesting.
So, a couple of things to note. There will be a free-to-play BR mode. If you don't know what it is, that's Battle Royale. Another one of those shoved down our throat. Apparently, the Battlefield 5 Battle Royale was actually pretty good. It's just no one played it. Apparently, it's very good. The game takes place.
We tried to play it.
We did.
We couldn't get into the game.
Well, that was probably why. So the lucky few that got in, apparently they said it was very good. The game takes place between 2027 and 2030, with the campaign focused on a massive private military going up against NATO. You know what I've just realized, Matt? The 2027 to 2030, it makes it sound very futuristic, right? Then I realized it's 3 years away.
I know, yeah. It does make you realize the passage of time when you realize that actually, yeah, Battlefield 2030 is only 6 years away.
You want to know more details? I've got more.
Go on.
You excited? Okay, here we go. I'm going to throw some things at you. 45 weapons at launch. Yeah?
I'm already bored.
10 multiplayer maps at launch. significant
This sort of
overhaul.
stuff doesn't get me excited about games. You could
Okay.
literally, they
Okay,
could
here
come
we
up
go,
with
here
a
we go.
trailer and say there's 1,000 weapons in the game, and you know what? I will find one that I'm comfortable with and use that the entire time I play the game.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna blow your mind, okay? Changes to movement, including the ability to pick up and move downed teammates. Oh, Battlefield 6, here we come. So there you go. That's the new Battlefield.
I think they're moving to a slightly more slower pace of gameplay, more in line with how Battlefield 3 played. The Dream of Bad Company 3 is never going to happen. I've just accepted that. I'm not that lucky. But also, in the Battlefield world, Battlefield 1's getting some love as well. It's getting
really?
the new anti-cheat that features in modern Battlefield games. Because Battlefield 1 is still hugely popular online. Its
I have a question.
console player base is massive, and it's sort of having a bit of a resurgence because the modern Battlefield is not to everyone's taste.
I have a question. Is this also going to be an extension to Star Wars Battlefront 2? Because that is cheated to the wazoo, and it's unplayable the last time I tried it.
My guess, maybe. I think they're trying to roll it out a lot of old games, but I don't know. I know Battlefield 1 has been suffering a lot from cheaters, especially since this anti-cheat rolled out into other games and it kind of quashed that. So, you know, Battlefield 1 is 8 years old, which is hard to believe. And if you play it now, I've been back on recently, it looks phenomenal still. And you just have those, oh God, I'm going to say it, those Battlefield moments. And But you just do. Like, you know, you're running through a trench and a plane comes crashing down above you, and just loads of crazy things happen. Honestly, I really want to install Battlefield 1 right now and carry on playing it, really talking about it. Because I think for me, like, I love Bad Company 2. It's what got me into the Battlefield series. Loved it. But Battlefield 1 really remains as... I'd put that... You know what? I'd go as far as putting it in my top 10 games of all time.
Really? Okay, you know what?
I think I'd put that high up.
I would rank that as my favorite Battlefield as well, you know? I think it's brilliant.
It's just everything about it. Like, you snipe someone with a... You know, because you don't have... A lot of the guns don't have proper scopes. It's all iron sights and things like that. You just hit that headshot from across. Oh, mwah. Oh, it just that dopamine hit straight away as soon as it comes up is fantastic. And there's just so much going on.
What I liked about it is obviously with World War One, it was the era of where horses were still being used in military strategy. So you've got scenarios of where there's a guy in a tank and there's a guy riding a horse right next to it. It's so weird, but you know, it technically did happen. Like,
I hated the horses in Battlefield 1. That's one thing I didn't like.
Yeah, the horses are very tanky in that game.
Yeah, I mean, it was for obvious reasons. It was for balance.
Battlefield moments.
I'm gonna have to play some Battlefield 1 this week now. I've said that.
I can hear the soundtrack in my head right now. I can hear it. Are you ready? It's that time. Have you got any more news for me before we go further?
Oh, I know what's coming.
Yeah, it's the viewer's favorite feature. I'm sure there's plenty of comments down there saying that they're enjoying it. Any more news?
No.
All right, it's time to play. Guess the game. Yep. You knew it was coming. Last week you failed for the first time ever in Cool Story Bro history. In the original podcast, Season 0, I think you got every single one right. It was very impressive. I clearly made that too easy. Last week, bit of controversy. Apparently, one of my clues was wrong. I would agree it was wrong. There wasn't a Guitar Hero release in the past 5 years. It was last released in 2015. See, in my head, 2015 still seems like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
So, Okay, guess the game. Here we go. The rules of the game is pretty much I'm thinking of a game. You can ask me questions. I can answer with a yes or no. You got 5 minutes on the clock. If you're struggling, you need a bit of a tip, you need a bit of a hand, let me know. I'll knock off a minute and I'll give you a clue. You got 3 clues, but that'll take off 3 minutes. You ready? I'm
Y-
not. Hang on, I'm not ready. Hang on. Let me just bring up the timer. I'm never ready for this. Honestly, like you'll keep calling me
Wait,
Zitlag, and I'll never have the timer. Okay, I'm
one
ready.
of our listeners who are more skilled than us, by the way, you need to come up with a theme song for this utterly stupid game.
Originally, no, didn't we have a jingle originally for season 0?
I don't know. People are gonna have to check that.
I know. I'm pretty sure there is a jingle somewhere. Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
Go on.
I'll click start.
Star Wars.
No.
Um, Are your clues fact checked?
Yes, on Wikipedia.
Oh no! Right, is it a game you know I've played?
Yes.
Is it something we played recently?
No.
Oh, is it a shooter?
No.
Is it a I don't know, survival game?
No.
That was a no. That sounds like it's got some survival elements in it. Can you craft things in the game?
No.
Does it
Want a
have
clue?
zombies in? Yes, give me a clue.
No. I've stopped the timer. Okay. Here we go. Your new time is going to be 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Okay, your first clue is I don't fancy cleaning up today. I'll just leave it on the floor. Playtime. Here we go.
Is it
3
Theme
minutes.
Hospital?
It's not Theme Hospital.
Is it a sim game?
It is a sim game.
Is it The Sims?
It is The Sims. Congratulations. I'm so happy that you got it on that first clue. I was kind of thinking that was going to jog your memory there.
Speaking of Theme Hospital,
Oh,
I watched a documentary from a random YouTuber who I will find out and link in the show notes. Really good, well put together documentary about Theme Hospital. Now, originally, in the original designs for the game, they didn't really have design documents because they did everything on the fly at Bullfrog. But they were going to go through the ages, so they were going to start in I don't know if it's going to be the Stone Age or medieval, something like that. Then
that
do
is
Victorian Hospital, modern, and then future. But that never made it to the final game, and they just did modern. Imagine how much different that would have been.
Imagine how hard that would have been for the developers. Oh my god.
Which I think was the big limitations of it. Now, interestingly, in 2 Point Hospital, which was the spiritual successor, there is a time travel DLC, so you can go back and do all these things, which I think is a nice nod to the original design.
Wait, so was there going to be... Was this a concept, or was this partly developed?
I'm unsure if any of it was developed or if it was just at the concept stage.
So you're telling me that there might be an old version out there where you're playing as a monk mixing up herbs
Potentially.
in the medieval times?
Potentially. Well, you do know that was a feature as well. Peter Molyneux wanted players to be able to mix medicines.
Oh, you had to say his name.
You had to say his name every podcast. It's the rule. You take a drink every time we say Peter Molyneux. And you can just hear his voice now. All the players can just mix medicines and come up with new ways to cure things. He has these grand ideas, and this was back in the 90s when computers definitely couldn't do that.
Take my money.
Now, speaking of 2 Point, obviously their second game was 2 Point Campus, which when it was initially announced, I was like, what? That can't be fun. But actually, it's really good. It's a take of the original 2 Point Hospital game, but you're running a university, and the idea is that you're meant to be more attached to the students that are there, because they don't just come in and out like the hospital ones. They're there for a whole semester and stuff like that. I definitely didn't get that attachment, but I did really enjoy running the university side of things. It was wacky enough that it was entertaining. Now they have.
I'm guessing that was on Game Pass, right?
It was. It definitely
Yep.
was. It falls into that category. Now they've got a new one announced.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen this. Have a guess what you think it might be. So we've had hospital, and we've had university. What do you think the next one's going to be?
Well, the next one's clearly got to be theme park.
No. Now everyone wants this, and they have got multiple games in the works. And I think they're being very careful with a 2-point theme park game, because theme park world hugely popular for Bullfrog, and I think they're just scared of messing it up. There is also things like Planet Coaster 2 coming out soon, and
Right, yeah.
maybe they're just worried that the market's a bit flooded at the moment. I don't think it would be a problem.
Wait. Is it a Zoo Tycoon?
No. That would be your next guess. I think if I gave you 10 guesses,
Give me a
I don't
clue.
think you'd get it.
Is this a bonus? Guess the game? Is it in a casino?
No, that would be a good one, but maybe
Is it
not
in a
something you could
mall?
sell to. Again, Multi-Coon was actually a brilliant game, but
Is it an ice cream truck simulator?
no, but that's probably a game on Steam.
It is. Go on then, give it to me. What is it?
You are running a museum.
That sounds like the chillest game, and that I'm actually intrigued to play that. That sounds cool.
So it looks like from the trailers that have come out, your archaeologists go out and find stuff to bring back to the exhibits and stuff like that.
Is it just like the film Night at the Museum, pretty much?
Potentially, that sort of stuff can happen by the looks of it in the trailer, that some of the exhibits can come to life.
Awesome.
And it
I'm sold.
also it looks like there's going to be a few, like the first sort of extra features to come with it is going to be like an aquarium sort of thing as well that you can add to your museum. But there's so much stuff they could do with this. If you think, they could add like space areas, a planetarium.
Yeah, it's kind of endless, really.
So actually, again, it was the same reaction I had when I saw it was going to be 2-point university.
Oh,
Initially,
that makes
I've
so
gone
much sense.
2-point museum. I've gone, what? But actually, a museum is a business. You can charge tickets, and all that sort of stuff. Shops.
It makes sense because you can choose which which exhibit you want in which area, which is going to be your prime piece. How many reactions are you going to get? The flow of traffic, we can't forget about that. How many queues are we going to have in which area?
Because it's Sega who the publishers for 2-point games. If you pre-order the game, you can get a gift shop full of Sonic items. So your guests can walk around dressed as Sonic, or you can have Sonic floor tiles, all that sort of
I'm
stuff.
sure that happens in real life as well. Before we move on to whatever it is next, I had a bit of trivia about The Sims. I thought it was quite interesting. Do you know how Will Wright, the producer, the designer for The Sims, came up with the idea of The Sims in the first place?
I feel like, again, this has been one of those YouTube documentaries that I just sit and watch from time to time. I'm going to say the obvious, that he was watching his kid play the dollhouse or something like that.
Oh, you may have seen this documentary, or maybe you've been going on the Wikipedia recently, which I know you are pretty fond of doing, you old man. So the game designer, Will Wright, was inspired to create a virtual dollhouse after losing his home during the Oakland firestorm of 1991. Replacing his home and his other possessions made him think about adapting that life experience into a game. When Wright initially took his ideas to the Maxis board of directors, they were skeptical and gave little support or financing for the game. The directors at Electronic Arts, which bought Maxis in 1997, were more receptive. SimCity has been a great success for them, and they foresaw the possibility of building a strong Sim franchise, which they have. Sims 4 has made billions, apparently.
Yeah, it's a money printer. The Sims 1, the irony of that game that you can lock your Sims in a house fire, or let them drown in the pool, which I'm sure.
By the way,
did.
My clue number 2 was my favorite activity is removing the pool ladder.
Oh yeah, what there's no way I don't get that off clue 2. What's clue 3?
Will you make the right decision for your virtual self?
Right, okay.
Uh,
You were clinging on to something there.
I was.
Did you let AI write those clues?
I did that all myself. I spent a lot of prep time this week. Not like last week. Last week I did guess the game on the toilet 5 minutes before we went live on air. Now, I actually did 2 hours of prep today. Are you impressed?
You know what one of your clues could have been?
Go on.
Rosebud.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing! Wasn't it Rosebud exclamation mark for how many thousands of credits or whatever it was called?
Gave you loads of money, didn't it? It was great. Yeah, that was literally the first thing I'd do every time, and then just build a mansion, just like a massive pool inside or something like that. I literally wouldn't focus on any. Yeah, you'd just be like, some
waitress,
some office guy with like the lowest tier job. He just, in fact, I'd do the cheat and wouldn't get a job and just have my guy be a bum at home. Just what, like, I remember. In fact, I remember one playthrough I did. I don't know why this sticks out in my memory, but I didn't get a job. But you could paint in the game, and then once your character finished the painting, you could sell it. And the more you did it, the better at painting you got, and the more money you got for those paintings. So I literally just made my guy a painter in one playthrough, and he'd just sit at home all day painting. But it would take him like days.
Playing as Picasso.
Pretty much. It wasn't profitable. It'd take ages to do paintings and stuff like that. But
I love that. That's brilliant.
Sims 1. Oh god, there's got to be a download somewhere of that. You could give it a go. I'm sure it's clunky as hell on modern machines, and it's going to be one of those games where you look back with rose tinted glasses and you actually start playing it, and it's just got no modern features on it and stuff like that. I had that with Theme Park World, incidentally. Getting that to run on Windows 10 is an utter nightmare. I mean, it was impossible to get run originally when it first came out. It was hugely demanding with the 3D engine. But yeah, getting Theme Park World. And I'm talking about Theme Park World, not Theme Park, don't confuse. Theme Park World, which was the for me, the better of the two theme park games from Bullfrog.
Was that also from Peter Molyneux's team?
Yeah, Theme Park was their first one. And then Theme Hospital came out. And then I don't know what they did next, but Theme Park World came within that cycle of games. Now, once I finally got it working, which was, I'm talking days, and thanks to the Theme Park World Discord community that is still going strong, that are attempting to rebuild the game from the ground up.
Oh, yikes.
Which is an absolute passion project. And the amount of Discords I'm in of people rebuilding games, and it never sees the light of day because it is such hard work. I hope they're able to power through, because it'd be great to have that with some modern features, shall we say.
It does need modern features. I last played that game 10 years ago, and it was awful to get running.
It still runs awfully as well, even on my graphics card. So, yeah. I think that pretty much rounds out an episode.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we pretty much covered every news note that I have. The only thing that was left out, it wasn't really that much noteworthy. It was just that Blizzard on Hearthstone came up with a $60 Ragnaros era skin. Pointless, doesn't matter, no one cares. Moving on. Good episode. I really enjoyed this week.
Yeah, there's more to talk about microtransactions as well, because League apparently have got a $50 to $100 skin coming up soon as well, but we'll save that for another time.
We're going to go watch State of Play, aren't we? And then we will record a bonus episode and talk all about it.
Yes, which you can check out at coolstorybro.gg if you head to our Ko-fi. The last bonus episode is available for free, so if you want more of this podcast, it is only available via our Ko-fi. It's not available by Spotify, but we are slowly being added to other podcast platforms, so you can check us out across all these. So if you don't want to listen on YouTube, because it's not the best for listening to podcasts unless you're a YouTube Red subscriber. You can check us out on Spotify. We're on there now. We are on Amazon, so you can ask your Alexa device or any other products to play us there. We're on. If you've got a Samsung device, we're on Samsung Podcast as well. We are trying to get on Apple Podcasts. That is a work in progress at the moment, but we should be on all your favorite podcast platforms. If there's any you want us to be on, just send us a message. If you prefer to listen to podcasts on certain ones, we'll do our best to get on there. And thanks for supporting us. For those who are asking about other Sneaky Bros stuff, check out the bonus episodes. We're going to talk about that a lot more coming up. It's also on our Discord as well. If you're not part of the Discord community, join us over there and support us on Ko-fi. You'll get yourself a nice Discord rank. You'll get access to the bonus episodes. And we're going to do behind-the-scenes content as we start to grow this podcast and all that good stuff as well. More Sneaky Bros content will be coming as well, we promise. Thanks for sticking around. If you've literally made it to the end of this episode, thank you. And we'll see you next time.
Cool story, bro.